The radical act of rest. Why Black women deserve more than survival. Have you ever found yourself awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling with a to do list scrolling through your mind like endless movie credits? That moment when your body is exhausted, but your mind refuses to power down? When the weight of expectations, yours and everyone else's, presses down on your chest until it's hard to breathe? I want to talk about something revolutionary today. Something that might sound simple, but is profoundly radical for many of us. Rest, not just any rest, intentional, unapologetic, guilt free rest. The kind that doesn't require earning, the kind that isn't squeezed between meetings or stolen in 5 minute increments between responsibilities. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Rochelle Graham, a transformative therapist whose work has illuminated the path forward for countless Black women caught in cycles of overgiving and under receiving. Rochelle isn't just a practitioner, she's a visionary who has dedicated her life to helping women reclaim their right to rest, to boundaries, to wholeness. Her insights have sparked a quiet revolution in how we think about self preservation, particularly for Black women who have been conditioned to put everyone else first. What Rochelle has shown through her groundbreaking work is that for many Black women, especially professionals and entrepreneurs, the concept of rest isn't just elusive, it's almost forbidden territory. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by our productivity, our ability to endure, our capacity to carry everyone else's burdens while silencing our own needs. But here's the truth that Rochelle's work reveals: rest isn't a luxury. It's not something to be earned. It's not selfish. Rest is a necessity, a fundamental human need as essential as water, food, and shelter. And for too many of us, it's been systematically denied, not just by external forces, but by the internal voices we've internalized. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, or perhaps said yourself, I'll sleep when I'm dead? We laugh when we say it, but there's nothing funny about glorifying exhaustion. There's nothing admirable about running ourselves into the ground. And yet, we do it day after day, year after year. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we absorb the message that our value lies in what we can do for others, not in who we are or what we need. In Rochelle DeConte's practice, she sees this pattern repeatedly among her clients. Accomplished Black women professionals who come to her utterly depleted after years of giving from an empty cup. These women struggle with setting boundaries because they've been taught that self sacrifice is virtuous, that putting themselves last is the mark of a good woman, a good mother, a good employee, a good friend. Let me tell you about Maya. Not her real name, but her story is all too real. Maya came to therapy after literally collapsing at work. Her body simply shut down after years of 60-hour work weeks, caring for aging parents, raising children, and volunteering at church. Maya had been taught that saying no was selfish, that needing rest was weak, that asking for help was failure. Through therapy, combining DBT and CBT techniques with assertiveness training, Maya began to unlearn these harmful beliefs. She started setting boundaries, small ones at first, then larger ones. She began to recognize that her needs mattered. That rest wasn't something to be stolen in secret, but claimed openly as her right. The transformation wasn't immediate or easy. There were setbacks, moments of guilt, fears of letting people down. But slowly, Maya reclaimed her right to rest. And something remarkable happened. Her relationships improved. Her work became more focused and effective. Her health stabilized. By taking care of herself, She became more, not less, able to show up authentically in all areas of her life. Maya's story isn't unique. It's echoed in the experiences of countless women who have been taught that their worth is tied to their utility to others. Rochelle Gillespie, another therapist whose work focuses on this area, speaks openly about her own journey from neglecting self preservation to embracing it as a professional value. Early in her career, she found herself caught in cycles of overwork fueled by a fundamental lack of self love. The pressure to prove herself worthy as a Black woman in a field that didn't always make space for her led to burnout that affected not just her professional life, but her personal relationships as well. Through her own therapy and ongoing education about boundaries and restorative practices, Rochelle learned what she now teaches others. Intentional rest isn't optional, it's foundational. It's not something we do after everything else is done. Because let's be honest, everything is never done. It's something we prioritize because without it, everything else suffers. The clients in Rochelle's practice report improved mental health outcomes, stronger relationships, and decreased symptoms of anxiety and depression when they prioritize downtime and self care routines. But perhaps most significantly, they report a renewed sense of self worth, a recognition that they deserve care simply because they exist, not because they've earned it through productivity or service to others. This message resonates deeply within communities where the strong Black woman archetype has been both a source of pride and a prison. The expectation to be endlessly resilient, to never show vulnerability, to always be the rock for everyone else. These expectations take a devastating toll on mental and physical health. But what about our relationships? What happens when we start prioritizing ourselves in partnerships that have been built on the foundation of our self sacrifice? This brings me to the second profound insight from Rochelle Graham's work. Don't settle for less in relationships or marriage. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that love means constant giving, even when it's unreciprocated or emotionally harmful. We've been taught that keeping the peace, maintaining the status quo, and accepting crumbs of affection or respect is better than being alone or causing conflict. In one of Rochelle DeConte's practice settings, she works primarily with Black women experiencing relationship dissatisfaction due to boundary issues and codependency. Many of these women feel trapped by expectations that equate love with constant giving. They've been taught that to ask for more respect, more support, more reciprocity is selfish or unrealistic. Through structured boundary setting programs that combine cognitive behavioral strategies with culturally responsive counseling approaches, these women begin to recognize and articulate their needs. They practice assertiveness through role playing difficult conversations. They journal about what they truly want and deserve in their relationships. The outcomes are transformative. Participants report greater satisfaction within their marriages, reduced feelings of resentment and exhaustion, and the renewed sense of agency regarding what they will and won't accept in their relationships. One woman, after decades of feeling unseen and unheard at home, despite her professional success, finally had the courage to tell her husband, I need you to participate equally in household management. I need you to see me as a partner, not a servant. It wasn't an easy conversation. There was resistance, defensiveness, years of entrenched patterns to overcome, but it was the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship, one built on mutual respect rather than one sided sacrifice. Several participants in these programs have gone on to mentor peers and newlyweds about healthy standards and self respect, helping to shift cultural norms around what constitutes enough effort, love, and support within partnerships among high achieving Black couples. This brings us to the third key insight: healing begins with honest self reflection and seeking support when needed. Transformation often starts by acknowledging where we are not honoring ourselves, whether through burnout or unhealthy relationship patterns, and then taking steps toward healing. For many of us, this is the hardest part. It requires admitting that something isn't working. It means looking at patterns we've maintained for years, perhaps patterns we inherited from our mothers and grandmothers, and recognizing that while these patterns may have helped our ancestors survive, they're preventing us from thriving. Seeking support, whether through therapy, community groups, spiritual practice, or trusted friends, isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of profound courage and self love. It's saying, I deserve more than just surviving. I deserve to flourish. The women in Rochelle's practice who embrace this journey of self reflection and support report not just improved relationships and mental health, but a fundamental shift in how they see themselves. They move from defining themselves by what they do for others to recognizing their inherent worth simply as human beings deserving of love, rest, and respect. So, where do we go from here? How do we begin this journey toward radical rest and self preservation? It starts with small acts of reclamation, scheduling intentional moments for rest without guilt, reflecting honestly on whether you're settling anywhere in your life, especially in your closest relationships, taking one small step toward advocating for your needs, whether it's seeking support through counseling or simply saying no when something doesn't serve you. These acts may feel uncomfortable at first. They may trigger guilt, fear, or uncertainty. That's normal. We're unlearning lifetimes of conditioning, not just our own, but generations before us. But here's what I want you to understand today, what I need you to carry with you when you leave this room. Your rest is not just personal, it's political. When you claim your right to rest, you're not just changing your schedule, you're challenging systems built on the exploitation of your labor, your time, your very life force. When you refuse to settle for less than you deserve in relationships, you're not just improving your own life, you're creating ripples that will transform how love and partnership are understood for generations to come. When you seek support and healing, you're not just helping yourself, you're breaking cycles of trauma that have persisted for centuries. This is why rest for Black women isn't just about self care, it's about liberation. It's about reclaiming what was never meant to be taken from us: our humanity, our joy, our peace, our right to exist beyond what we can produce or provide for others. I challenge you today to commit to one radical act of rest. Not tomorrow, not when you finish your to do list, not when everyone else's needs have been met. Today, right now. Claim that space, draw that boundary, ask for that help, begin that healing. Because the revolution we need won't be won through exhaustion. It will be birthed in moments of profound rest, in the quiet power of knowing your worth beyond your work, in the gentle but firm no that makes space for a deeper yes to yourself. Your ancestors didn't survive so you could work yourself to death. They survived so you could live fully, joyfully, restfully. Honor their sacrifice not by sacrificing yourself, but by claiming the peace they could only dream of. Rest is your birthright. Claim it. Your life, not just your survival, but your thriving depends on it.